Hey, welcome back to part B of the range test that I'm doing today on the InMotion V11. I had to get home and help out with the kids, do a few chores at home. So I left the InMotion sitting there without getting any more charge. And now I've got a bit more time, I'll head out and finish my range test. It's showing on the app, I've just started out the door, it's showing 22 kilometers left on the app, so we'll see about that. So I don't have any tilt back going on. You know, things feel okay at the moment. I'm aware that I'll probably get some low power on this trip, so I'll just keep an eye on things. I'm not going to go too far from home. I don't think it's going to be a very long video. Just rolling around the local streets. I think I might head down to the park. I'm not going to push the wheel very hard. Just going to really try to get the remainder of this battery squeezed out so I can get an accurate idea on how far we went today. You know, the battery on my camera went flat before, so I headed into the forest again. Did a few bush tracks. I think I got close to 50 kilometers, but I'll make sure I add that, and I'll then add this trip as well, and we can see what we get all together. Right, going up this overpass, no problem. No tilt back yet. I'm not trying to do it at very high speed. At the moment I'm doing, 20 kilometers an hour, no problem, no tilt back. Showing me a range of 17 kilometers, although still showing 41% battery. We'll go for a bit of a roll and we'll see how far we get before we start running into some tilt back. It's great to just be able to go around people onto the grass. It's easy, no trouble, really easy. You can go around people with ease. People just aren't aware of what they're doing and where they are most of the time. They're just on their phones or chatting away. You just give them a bit of time, let them know that you're coming up behind them. The thing that normally happens is you'll feel that when you try to lean forward a little bit on the wheel, it'll feel a little bit like the pedals are tipping backwards. That's a warning feature that they build into the wheel so that it doesn't just tip you off when, in the event that the batteries completely die. You've got that as a warning mechanism. You can set the warnings up a few ways. You can have beeps, vibrations on your Apple Watch. You can also have tilt back kick in. Even if 17 kilometers is true, which it's showing as my range, that puts today's trip at about 67 kilometers. Still not bad for a 4-hour charge, and commuting the way that I went today, and I wasn't really riding light the whole day at all. I did feel it in the feet. My feet are a little bit sore. I've got the Converse on today. They're a fairly new shoe. At this stage I'm still showing 3 bars on the battery meter of the InMotion. It's a busy time of the day around here. There's a lot going on. There's people coming out in front of me on the bike back there. I guess people coming home from work, in and out of the driveways. The sun's in everybody's eyes again. not only your eyes and the reflections, but you've got people on the road that can't see what they're doing. You know, the first 3 bars on the display I was able to get 50-kilometer range. Yet I've got 3 bars left and that's showing a range of 17 kilometers on the app, so I don't really think it's too accurate to trust the last half of the battery for your range that you'll get. No weak response from the InMotion. I've had no tilt back, no beeps, no warnings. Keeping an eye on my app. When you're out pushing your battery on the edge, you don't want to be stuck. This trip I've only gone for 4 kilometers so far. Saying I've got a 33 kilometer range. I still doubt that. I'll have to go through my trip log when I get home and do the maths. Add up the 2 trips today. So I've split the video up into a part A and a part B. If you're viewing this one and you haven't seen part A, I headed into the city, into some gardens. So feel free to go and have a look at the video I made, part A section of this range test. I'll try to learn how to put the links in the description to my other videos. So I'll hit some of these bike paths. Try to get a bit of this battery down before it gets too dark. It's just a local place not too far from home, and I'll just keep an eye on my battery now. The further I go away from home, the more I'll keep an eye on my range, keep an eye on my battery and make sure I've got enough to get back home. So I think for people that live close enough to their workplace, or close enough to the city, or places they need to get around, it's a viable transport. To be able to knock out 60 kilometers without worrying. You've always got the option of keeping a charger at your workplace, giving it another charge when you get home. So effectively, if you live in a 50 kilometer range and you've got good access to pathways and roads, that's a big part of it. You can't get there if you don't have the right infrastructure. So hopefully more and more people seeing these videos promoting this type of transport, you're then going to get more councils, more governments spending money on electric way of life, and they might upgrade the pathways in your area. Pathways like this that can get you all the way into the city, separate from cars. They offer a really good alternative to catching public transport over to the other side of the highway here. I enjoy this so much more than sitting on a bus, sitting in the traffic, I get some fresh air. I'm not using any emissions. It's good for me, good for the environment. But the more videos you watch, there's quite a few range tests out there on the different channels. You see people get a range of ranges because the conditions they're riding through, they might be through snow, they might be through weather. You've got uphills, downhills, cold conditions. The batteries inside these wheels don't perform the best in cold conditions, so you need to take that into account. We've had a beautiful day here today. It's always nice and warm in my neck of the woods, so I've got no troubles with cold, so I might be able to sneak a little bit more range than other people can. But once you get an idea, you watch a few of the different range tests of the wheels, you can sort of get an average for what you think you'll need and decide if that's the right wheel for you. I've got the wind against me now, and there was a slight tilt back perhaps on the wheel then. I've just dropped another bar, so I'm down now to 2 bars. I'm still going at quite a speed. I'm just going to keep rolling around these paths and try to put a few more kilometers into this battery before I call it quits. I can always head back towards my house and just roll around slowly on the paths. That's always easier to push the wheel home from that location than, you know, I'm still a kilometer or two. I think I was 4 kilometers away. So that's still a decent walk home when you're pushing 30 kilos. Still having fun. I used to get so paranoid on my electric skateboard. There was no warning features, no battery management system, no displays, no apps. You would just be out guessing. Geez, they were heavy too, this big heavy beast of a thing. You get stuck. But not with my InMotion. You know, there's enough information you've got at hand if you need it. You can see what you need. Even my drones, I used to get so scared you'd be out flying, and then I started to really understand things like the battery management systems. When DJI started to show me that my drone would tell me how far I had left to fly and when to turn it around, it would give you a warning and say return home. You've only got enough battery, and then you'd soon learn that that didn't take into account the wind. Much the same with these devices. They might give you an idea of the battery range, but they're not taking into account the wind, the terrain, your weight, what you're carrying. So there's only an indication from them. They can only guesstimate. So it's up to you to learn to know your device. Still traveling easily at 25 kilometers an hour. I've done 10 kilometers this trip, so we're up to about 60 kilometers. It's showing 31% battery. Someone's playing saxophone. I like a bit of smooth saxophone. Everything's looking good. I've forgotten how to look at my last trip, so I'll get back home and I'll do the maths on that. It's been like a long day out on the wheel today. Not all at once. I did have a break. Squeeze a little bit longer out of this. I've still got to head back home, which is another 4 kilometers. Thank you again for watching another video. This one was a longer video, so I've split it up into 2 parts, part A and part B range test on the InMotion V11 electric unicycle. Part 1, if you didn't see it already, was a trip into the city, a roll around a little garden area, and part 2, just rolling around the bike paths on Sunset. So I think what I'll do is head back towards my neck of the woods. My neck of the woods. I don't know if that's just an Australian term. That's how we say where we live, our neighbourhood. So I'll head back towards my neighbourhood. A couple of hills on the way. Yeah, look, if you're trying to go at speeds, I think I can feel a slight tilt back coming in. With InMotion, they've designed it really nicely. It's not a violent tilt back that just kicks you off. It's really gradient. You just start to feel it at first. Especially when I first started, I wasn't sure if I was feeling it. You know, I thought I might be a bit motion sick, or it just start to feel a bit weird. And I didn't realise that was actually part of the design, and so I've definitely got some pushback, some tilt back there. I could feel that. It must have just been a bit of a wind burst that came against me and a slight gradient, and then just a slight dip. A mode that's built in when you're getting on a low battery, and that will limit the speed. So you're not really going to be pushing the wheel as far, and you're not putting yourself in as much danger of, you know, high speed incidents when you're on low battery. And there's another little mode that'll actually give you a battery boost. I think it's supposed to give you an extra bar of battery, and that gives you a slight boost of range. I think it's like an emergency stash of petrol. When I first started to test, this is a replacement motor for, I had a bearing issue with my original InMotion. I'd had about 3,000 kilometers on that wheel, and then I copped some rain and had some bearing issues, so they switched over the motor, and at that time they also placed a bearing cover in. And when I got the wheel back, I noticed that my range had dropped significantly. I'd really noticed it straight away in the performance of the wheel. I had a lot more tilt back. It felt weaker. It just wasn't as responsive. I thought it was in my head. I couldn't understand. I asked the store, spoke with InMotion. I think I was ready to just blame people for giving me a faulty repair job, and it was just my inexperience, I think, and my anxieties, and you know, I probably threw blame in the wrong places. And as I've learned, it's really what I believe was the bearing cover must have shown some resistance on the bearings, and as that's loosened up, the more I've put on the wheel, that's opened up the range. I seem to have the range back that I had last time on my first wheel, on the first motor. Especially from this trip, I think I can see that I've really got a good performance now. I've got to be happy with the range I've got today and the way that I've ridden it. It's still going at speed. The wind's against me. My house was kind of back that way, and I seem to still be going this way, so as I head home, this was the range test on the InMotion V11. I've still got 1 bar of battery left, so we're going to use that bar to get ourselves home. It's good when you go down hills like this, you actually reclaim a little bit of charge. Super surprised. I might not even kill it by the time I get home. We'll have to do this all over again in another video, one long shoot. I know the path to do it on, so I guess let me know if you want to see me do this again in one whole long video. It's been great chatting with you all again. It's been a couple of long videos all shot in one day. So I'm back to university soon. I won't be able to post as regularly, so I'm trying to get a few videos up now to start the channel, get things built up. I'm nearly up to 100 subscribers, which to me is amazing. please slow down. That's what she's saying. So that's one of the warning features kicking in. I just had to be careful, I think it was. I was talking, so I couldn't quite hear it. Well, this is perfect because I'm just rolling into my driveway here. And you know, I could actually probably get a little bit further on this if I really wanted to push things. But I don't. I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna check the app. I'll add all the logs. So at this stage, the rough total, I've done 21 kilometers for this trip and 50 kilometers for part A of this trip. 50 kilometer range, 71 kilometer range with an average speed of 23.9 kilometers. Thanks for watching another video. It was a longer one today. I appreciate the support. See you next time. Bye for now.